Humans are in the center, not capital. This is a quote that I heard a few years ago at a conference that I attended in Montreal. The presenter was basically suggesting that a lot of the algorithms that we use for different tasks, they only optimize or basically minimize costs. They don't really understand that humans are using these algorithms and their outputs have an effect on them, sometimes negative effects. They don't consider the needs and the preferences of the humans that use them. And this really gave me the inspiration to pursue my thesis, which focuses on improving the practicality of last mile routing by integrating the tacit knowledge of experienced drivers in planning. So last mile delivery services are basically the services through which you have a truck at a depot, and that truck is tasked with delivering the products or the packages at the depot to the end consumers. And to determine the routes and the sequence of the stops for the driver, we usually use some optimization-based algorithms called routing algorithms. In the past few years, there have been a lot of empirical evidence that these conventional routing algorithms, they're not very practical. Their outputs are not very useful for drivers, and as a result, a lot of the drivers deviate from them and they don't conform to them. And the issue there was suggested to be the fact that these routing algorithms, they only optimize for the total travel time and minimize costs, and they don't really consider the preferences of the drivers and also the experience of the drivers. So since the drivers are delivering to different neighborhoods almost every day, they develop more experience. They know where the best parking spots are, how the traffic patterns change, and also they have some information, some objective information about the recipient availability at different times of day. And all of this information is usually latent to the routing algorithms that we use. And my thesis aims to consider the social responsibility, to consider the preferences of the human drivers, also integrate their experience into routing, so that we can have all three pillars of sustainability in our algorithm. So currently we're only pushing for environmental and economic, and we're missing the social aspect. So my thesis is divided into three phases. For now, phases 1 and 2 are almost finished, and we're working on phase 3. So in phase 1, we used some historical delivery routes from drivers. And that means that we had access to the GPS routes from the drivers and also the package data. And we infused these two data sets and we compared the driver performed routes to the routes that we prescribed them, the total travel time optimized routes. And the goal here was to understand how the driver performed routes differ to the ones that we optimize on paper. And some things that we noticed was that drivers don't really want to do a lot of backtracks. They don't want to do a lot of left turns. And they in fact have some information about the recipient availability and parking spots. And our algorithm was developed in a supervised learning method. So we have that information embedded into the parameters of an algorithm. In the second phase, we further mature this model or the algorithm such that it's not overly biased based on the historical data. And how we do that is we basically ask the model to generate a few solutions for an instance. We feed these different solutions to the human drivers and ask for their preference. So our algorithm can actually do this. It's very fast and scalable, and it's designed to perform this way. And once the driver states their preference between the routes, we can fine-tune the model and make it more mature. And we're calling this the human feedback loop. Once phase 2 is finished, we will implement this or integrate this algorithm into the interface that drivers use for a courier service. And for this phase, we're collaborating with Purelator. And through the app, we're going to ask the drivers to give us some input about the routes that we designed for them using the new human-centered algorithm. And the goal here is to really let them know that we consider their preferences and their tacit knowledge in routing by giving them more information about the routes that we're prescribing, and hopefully make things easier for them. And in the final stage of this phase, we're going to do a performance evaluation of the model and see how we perform.